So this is actually a 360 IBL. This is a chaparral that they're kind of working its way down the assembly line. You can see the opening for the bedroom slide. Here is the wet bay, pass-through storage, hot water heater. This is the mid-bunk slide without the slide in. Coming back a little bit. Here's the living room, island, kitchen area. It's very cool to see it in this stage of development because this is something most people will never see. You can see how open everything is at this point, which makes a lot of sense not to put the slides in yet because you'd force everyone to hand their product through the door if you did that. In this stage with no slides, any materials they need to bring, such as the island, they can carry up, set right here, then get into the coach and move it where it needs to go. You know, one thing that I've gathered through this entire process is there is really a focus on doing it right. You know, oftentimes people might think that the people doing this work don't really care about what they're doing, but I haven't seen that at all during this assembly. People seem to be very focused on their task and their job and trying to do it the best way that they can do it. Now, of course, you're going to have the occasional missed staple, or you're going to have the occasional issue here or there. That's where, when this unit ends up in PDI, they're going to address small things like that. So as we were walking, one interesting point that Fred talked about is how PDI is not what you would think PDI generally is. And PDI is pre-delivery inspection. That's where they go through the unit to make sure that everything is ready to go. At least that's the perception that I have and a lot of other people have. So Fred kind of stopped me along the way and explained what PDI really means for them here at Coachmen.
You know, we have a PDI facility. We have several of them, you know, within Forest River. We've got a dedicated PDI facility here within Coachmen that we will send products to. But the intent of the PDI facility that we have is not to ensure that every unit that goes through our PDI facility is perfect for our retail customers. Our PDI facilities, you know, will do code inspections, wiring inspections, do a lot of fit and finish inspections, but we use it as kind of a benchmark to see where we are at on our product that we're building out of our plant. Our hopes are to build a product coming out of our plant that was as if it had already gone through PDI.
Okay, so you use PDI to drive change in the actual plant itself.
You know, correct. It's part of our quality control process. We'll send product over there. We get daily reports on the products that we send. We get monthly reports. You know, we're able to nail down, you know, what are the top items that, you know, we have deviations on with the products that we send over there, and drive it back to the plant level. That, you know, way when we send those, you know, future units over to the plant, ideally we will have eliminated that and go on to the next item.
So an example might be, let's say that it gets to the PDI facility and you've noticed that staples are out of alignment or the trim wasn't put up properly or something like that. That gives you an identifier to come back to that specific station and build process improvement, correct?
Correct. I mean, on our most recent one, high staples was one of the top items, you know, for a monthly basis that we were having issues with sending over there. And it could be as simple as, you know, resetting our guns, taking a look at our guns, you know, making sure that they're set properly. But we use that, we go back to, you know, track it down to what is causing that, to eliminate it, and the idea is that we eliminate those issues and go on to the next three on our list.
That's one less thing that you worry about. That's in PDI.
Right.
Good deal.
Right.
Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so where are we at now?
We're at the box build for our slide out department. So, you know, once the slide out walls are routed out of the sidewalls, you know, they're brought down to our slide out department where we do our box build, and each outer wall will become the outer wall of the slide out for the unit that it was routed out of. So, you know, once these are all built, they'll get craned back over to the line and assembled into the unit. This is a laminated sidewall, but we still have to have a way of getting wires and everything up through our coaches, because we'll have wiring in the roof that you aren't able to run through the floor, and you're not able to run through the outer wall of the slide out.
Okay.
So this is This is a hung wall on our ends.
Here's the kitchen slide. That's very cool. This one has a residential refrigerator. I love this residential refrigerator you use because it's not too large and it's not small. It's definitely enough cubic footage for just about anybody, even a full-timer, while at the same time it's not taking up so much room that you can't reincorporate some countertop space. You look at some of these oven and stove setups, they put the wall right here next to it. And that's because they're trying to accommodate room for a larger residential refrigerator. In this, you actually have about 5 inches of clearance on each side of your stove, so your handles aren't sticking straight out or even on top of a burner. So this is a Chaparral 392 MBL, which is a mid-bunk loft. This is just to show you how large this storage area they've created here is. So they did something very unique. They took space that would otherwise be dead in most fifth wheels. This is space that would be unused. And they opened it up. There's going to be a wall here and a wall here, and if you've seen the video I've done on these before, you kind of know the layout. But look at the sheer amount of storage you get in this unit because they opened up this area. You can see the framing underneath, and just look at the sheer number of aluminum cross members that they put in here to add structure as well. And then behind me is another unit that has a different type of slide system a lot of people don't really see. And this slide system is actually in the floor section in here. And this is a very typical slide system for the side wall of your bedroom. But it's kind of a hidden slide system that you really don't see. Works really well for these smaller slides, not necessarily something you'd want to put on your larger slide. And that's one area that I really like about Coachmen is you use the right product in the right area. Some brands are just switching completely to cable-driven slides, even though it's very clear that cable-driven slides aren't designed for larger, heavier sidewall applications. It puts too much pressure on those areas where it's fastened. As you can see here, you can see the rack and pinion slide fully exposed. Mounts on these boxed frame bars. Very, very rigid, very strong slide system, and you can also see it in the back as well. You're rarely going to see this type of slide system completely fail. If a motor goes out, if there's other issues, those things can happen. But on a system like this, it's very easy to service because it's a very simple design. These rails go into the frame, pass through. It uses a track system, which simply winds the slide out. And there's not really a lot of failure points here that can cause this to be irreparably damaged. We're going to walk inside of this 392 MBL. This is reaching more towards the end of the line. You can see just starting to get these final finishes put in. Going to put the curtain valances in place, or the window valances. Still quite a bit to be done in terms of getting everything connected. Take a look at the mid-bunk area. So we've now stepped into the 392 MBL that's next to the one we were just in. And you can see that from one station to the next, a lot's actually been done. All the curtain valances are up. You can see how pretty much everything's ready to go. A few more steps, of course, in the process. I like how they kind of cover up all the flooring areas that there might be traffic. Last thing you want is to buy an RV that has a lot of wear and tear on the floor. How are you doing?
Hi, fine. How are you?
Doing absolutely well. Going up, you can see they've carpeted the loft area. This is a huge loft. What's this, a queen-size bed?
Yeah.
Maybe even a little bigger.
All of our lofts have queen-size beds.
That is very cool. So he is in the process of putting some very clean and brand new propane cylinders in here. So this is the area where the doors and drawers are assembled. I take it these are for the Brookstone? To the darker tone?
Yeah, those would be for Brookstone and generally in an island.
And then this looks more like the Chaparral. Fred, one thing I have to say is that walking through the factory, you're not hiding anything from me. Everything is out here in the open. You're not saying, don't film this, don't film that. It's completely exposed. Everything that goes into building one of these is put out there in the open, and that's commendable because if there was any real serious lack of quality control, you know, it would be in your best interest not to show it to me, but you're not doing that. You're literally letting me take pictures and video of every step, everything that's going on, how the people are doing their jobs. And that says a lot, because there are some companies that do not want you to walk through their factory because they don't want you to see certain parts. Or at least their guided tours may skip a lot of areas that you could potentially catch something that's not being done right. And I'm not going to say that, you know, occasionally you may have a problem with this, and you've admitted to me that, you know, there's going to be the occasional issue, right? This is a hand-assembled product. I haven't seen one robot build anything here yet. This is completely hand-assembled. How many people do you have working in this factory, you say?
Within this plant, we have about 150 people that work online.
150 people that are putting their skills and their talents and their efforts into assembling these products. And you know, when you look at the quality, you look at what they've done, for the most part, I can't find any real negative thing to say about what I see. It's a very manual process. People that go home at the end of the day here are probably exhausted because of the work that they put into building this product. A lot of people take a lot of time to try to make the best product that they can make. Is it perfect? You know, it's hard to say anything's perfect nowadays, but I can honestly commend you for how well I've seen your product represented, but more importantly, how you haven't stopped me from looking at any part of it.
I appreciate that. I mean, that says a lot about the people that we have at work here. I mean, we've got a great team put together here. I mean, people come in every day and talk about how much they appreciate working here, and we all enjoy it.
A lot of smiling faces, too.
There are.
I've yet to walk by anybody that hasn't greeted me politely and said, hey, how's it going? Or how are you doing today, with a smile on their face? I haven't seen people that are frustrated with their jobs here. They seem to enjoy what they do, and that's important.
They do. We got a real good group here.
Let's move on. So we have reached the end of the line for this specific 392 MBL. You can see the storage compartments here. There's still a little bit taking place. You can see this huge storage area I was talking to you about. This is essentially where all the little things are addressed that take place during manufacturing, such as cutting off little pieces of tape or threads here and there. This is essentially where it's going to end up before it gets picked up to be taken to the PDI facility, I take it?
Yeah, we've got one more station after this, so we're finally cleaning it up, working off, you know, some cosmetic, you know, maybe there's some you know, pieces of tape that need pulled, or caulk that needs, you know, spread out a little bit evenly. But for the most part, the unit's getting real close to being finished right here. And then we'll go take it one more station, do the final clean out on your pass-through storage compartments, do a final, you know, last few checks, and then it'll go out the door.
One thing I've really appreciated about this product is that you guys don't skimp on some things like the doors. A lot of manufacturers will go with the thinnest possible door they can to save some costs there. They'll use cheaper latching systems. And I notice on your product, slam latches, thicker doors. I mean, it's just kind of synonymous with what you would expect in a higher quality product.
This product's evolved over the years, and through, you know, customer feedback like yours, you know, our dealers' input, you know, they drive this product. You know, without them, I mean, you know, we wouldn't be here today. You know, I wouldn't be building 14 units, you know, out of this plant on a day-to-day basis if we weren't building product that, you know, customers want. And if we don't listen to our customer, we'll all be out of a job.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So this is pretty much the finished product. I love the valances. You guys have really evolved that design. A lot more modern and more contemporary even. Even some of the color choices now are a little bit different than they were when we bought ours. Overall though, it's a beautiful product. See, what's interesting is they have several different mid-bunk floor plans. And to the casual observer, you might think that they're all the same. But this is a 391 and not the 392. The 392 has a slightly narrower mid-bunk, whereas the 391 has a much longer mid-bunk, but no loft. This is actually a really cool floor plan, because it even gives you a desk inside of the mid-bunk area. and a huge overhead bunk as well. So the length of this is really nice, because some of them are a little bit too short, and because of that you have to have kind of the fold out sofa. So from here, this RV will be taken out and taken to their PDI facility just to go over final inspection before it gets sent out. Then they'll use whatever they learn from their PDI to improve any processes that they may have missed during the manufacturing of this product. But that's pretty much it. So that's a very detailed walkthrough of the Coachmen factory. This is where they produce the Chaparral line of fifth wheel, as well as the Brookstone line of fifth wheel. And you can see how they utilize just about every bit of space in this facility for something. They know how to essentially stock up on what they need for the products that they're producing without overstocking and essentially running into a scenario where you have so much stock that it ends up taking up valuable space that you could use for production. And they've also come up with several innovative solutions to manufacturing the product, such as how they do their roof of the RV and how you can get underneath it so they can assemble the parts that they need to assemble. Overall, I've been very impressed with this product line. I've been very impressed with how they assembled it. And again, they've hid nothing from me. You guys are seeing exactly what I'm trying to record and let you guys see, with nothing being sugar-coated. And I think that that's very important. Now, I'm not going to say that that is exclusive to them, because I'm sure there's other manufacturers out there that have very similar, ideology when it comes to how to produce a product and the transparency behind it. But what is important is when you come across a manufacturer like Coachmen and you see the pride that their employees take in their job, that is important. So if other manufacturers are doing that, kudos to them as well. What I can definitely say is I've been impressed what I've seen from Coachmen. Fred, I really appreciate the detailed tour of this facility. You guys have a great product. You have a lot of really dedicated folks working on it, and it's been very impressive to see this entire production from start to finish.
We appreciate you coming, JD.
Not a problem. Thanks again. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we will talk to you again very soon.